Hello again. The full details of Rachel Reeves' budget were released hours before she stood up in the Commons to announce what her budget contained. In fact, just before she stood up, she was frantically scrolling through her mobile, trying to find out what it was she had said, because the Office for Budget Responsibility had released it. It was all online. The BBC had already analysed the budget an hour before she made her announcements. This is an unprecedented situation, and you need to go back to 1947 to find anything similar. That year, Chancellor of the Exchequer Hugh Dalton leaked details of his budget to the newspapers and had to resign as a consequence. The Treasury had already been leaking information like mad in this way to the press for weeks, but I don't suppose that anybody these days will feel the need to resign about this as a matter of honour. The Deputy Speaker spoke at some length to Rachel Reeves before she delivered her budget, pointing out what a poor show it was to have leaked all the information in advance. But I think that Reeves, like Lammy, regards herself as bulletproof. In Lammy's case, this is because he is black and is needed for the Cabinet's optics. And in Reeves' case, she is a woman and therefore cannot be treated as strictly as a man would be. As we know, she regards any criticism of her or her financial policies as misogyny, though none of the other 131 previous Chancellors of the Exchequer had not also received harsh criticism, despite being men. The budget may be summed up very briefly that the economy is doing worse than expected, and we'll all be poorer next year than we are now. Well, there now, no long economic expressions needed there. What it amounts to is very simple and also absolutely horribly cynical. The government knows that they are not going to be able to heal society or improve the country's finances or make us any better off than we are now, and they're not even going to try. Instead, they have a simpler and more realistic goal, which is just hanging on to power until the next election and then getting voted in for another term of office. This might actually be a more realistic ambition than actually achieving anything to improve the country. Since few working people, pensioners or homeowners, are likely to vote Labour at the next election, their only hope is to appeal to their core voting base and hope that if they are given enough money and special treatment, that they will vote Starmer and his cronies back in 2029. Who are the core base of Labour voters? That's easy. It is foreigners, immigrants, and people living on benefits. Those who can remember the early years of Margaret Thatcher's first administration, 1980, 81, and so on, will know that the great hope of unemployed people living on the dole at that time was to get a job. This was what all the political situation hinged around, that people were unable to work even though they desperately wanted to. That's all finished now. And the greatest hope of many people now who are wholly reliant on state benefits is that they should be enabled to remain so without being obliged to look for work. Immigrants are being bribed to vote Labour by such things as abolishing the two-child cap on child benefit. One never sees a member of the indigenous population of this country with 5 or 6 children. It's almost always foreigners and immigrants. By handing over cash to all these people, Rachel Reeves hopes that they will remember who their friends are when it is time to vote. After the American Civil War, black people who could vote for the first time were offered similar inducements, such as the promise of 40 acres and a mule. There is nothing in the budget for genuine working people or those who have made themselves comfortable over their working life by saving money and investing it for their retirement. Instead, the aim is to take their money from them and give it to some random foreigner who might vote Labour when he's been given citizenship.